Hiring the right people takes time, the right questions, and a healthy dose of curiosity. Richard Branson.
You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast.
Last week, I had a great conversation with TJ Slattery about the importance of effective onboarding. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I highly recommend going back and checking it out because onboarding is such a crucial step in setting new hires up for success. But today, I want to take a step back and talk about hiring itself, what I've learned over the years, the good and the bad. This isn't coming from a textbook or a structured managerial course. It's coming from real life experience, pulling insights from a variety of books I've read over time, as well as my own trials and errors as a business owner. I've made some incredible hires, and I've also made some terrible ones. And one of the biggest hiring mistakes I've ever made, or I should say that what causes the biggest mistakes I've made in hiring is rushing. Every single time I've made a bad hire, it's because I was in a hurry. It's always when I've waited too long to hire, when I or my team were stretched way too thin, feeling desperate for help. That is when I've rushed to fill a role and ended up making the wrong decision. That's when you end up hiring someone who might not be the best fit. And trust me, that creates more problems down the line than taking the extra time to find the right person in the first place. The phrase hire slow, fire fast is often thrown around in business. And while I haven't always followed it perfectly, I can tell you from experience that is true. Giving yourself the time to find the best candidate for a role is one of the smartest moves you can make as a business owner. A big shift happened for us when we started implementing elements of top grading. Top grading is a hiring methodology focused on really digging into a candidate's past experience with open-ended questions and behavioral-based questions. Instead of just asking, can you do this? Or tell me about your experience with XYZ, we started asking deeper questions like, tell me about a time you faced a challenge at work and how did you handle it? This change alone made a huge difference in how we assessed candidates. Now, top grading is an extremely thick book. There's a lot of information in it, but we took what we felt would work for us out of that book and began implementing it in our hiring process. We also started using a hiring and recruiting management software to just streamline the process. Having a system in place helped us stay organized, track candidates, and ultimately make better hiring decisions rather than going with gut instinct or rushing through interviews. Another thing, one of the best hires that we've ever made, as a matter of fact, this team member is still with our company and will celebrate 12 years here this month, is by referral. We had a referral from another team member. And we specifically asked team members at one point, if you know someone who you think would love to work here or that you think would be a good fit, please let us know. And one of our team members, who's actually no longer with us and left kind of in a bad spot because we found out he was stealing, unfortunately, but he brought in another team member that has been exceptional here in our company. He's absolutely great. He goes the extra mile and then some. And like I mentioned, he'll be celebrating 12 years of being with our company this month. He has honestly become like a part of the family. So I would say asking for referrals is a great option because typically people will not refer someone who they don't think would be great in the company because their name is on the line with that referral. Now, you still should go through your process with interviewing that person, but asking for referrals is a good way to go. And some companies even give a referral benefit. I will also just add, follow your gut. I know I mentioned this earlier, and while on one hand, you definitely want to dig deep and ask the right questions, there's also the gut instinct part that you should not ignore. I can distinctly remember one person we hired, and my gut told me, do not hire this person. Like it screamed, do not hire this person. But he looked good on paper. And truthfully, we were in a hurry to fill a spot, and I did not listen to my gut. You have to listen to that, even with all the questions being asked. J. Willard Marriott said, it's more important to hire people with the right qualities than specific experience. So, though someone may look good on paper, you want to go through your interview process, but you also want to listen to your gut. If you can get other team members, other people in the company to interview them as well, get their feedback, their gut instinct as well. And truthfully, going over the company's core values is important. And where you can see those exemplified in that person's answers to your open ended questions, to your behavioral style questions, that is also very helpful. And lastly, I want to just let you know a little bit about our process. We do try to keep it simple, but we typically start by putting out an ad. These days, we're using Indeed, and we'll do a few prerequisite questions within the Indeed portal. You can even have people submit an interview or answer a question via voice, which is pretty cool. Once we have those kind of prerequisite questions answered, then we'll select people to do a phone interview with. I really love doing phone interviews because I just want to get to know the person a little bit better. I want to find out what their goals are, what they're looking for, and I get a feel for if I think it would be a good fit on the phone. And if we think it may be a good match, we'll then bring them in for an in-person interview. We love to show them around. It's really important to us that it's a win-win for both the company and the person. We want people who are happy. We want you genuinely to be happy coming to work here every day. If you're dreading getting up and going to your job every day, that is not a good thing. That is not a great way to live your life. And we don't want that for anyone. We don't want to hire that person if they don't feel like it would be something they really desire to hop up in the morning and do. But we like to bring people in. We like to let them look around. And again, this is when we jump into the questions, the behavioral style questions, really finding out more about them, their previous work experience, that type of thing. And one of the things you'll see in top grading is that you literally are going through this person's resume and asking them all these different questions about that particular position. It really digs deep, but it's really great. And I can tell you for a fact that there's one person that we avoided due to these behavioral questions. And I know we avoided it because later we received this not so very nice note in the mail from this. I just know it was from this person. I could tell from just everything about this interview that this would not have been a good fit for our company. Honestly, it would have been extremely toxic. I could just tell from previous answers to questions on previous job. Anyway, I'll leave that there. From there, we go on to a in-person working interview if we feel like the person wants to move on, if they feel like they want to move on and it's somewhere they can see themselves work, then we like to bring them in for a full day or a couple of days so they can really see, touch, feel what they're going to be doing every day, see if it's something they really like. We do think that's really important because, again, we want it to be a win-win. We don't want you to dread coming to work every day because no one wants to live life like that. That's really our process. And these are some just the highlights. I wanted to circle back to what I've learned over 22 years of entrepreneurship and hiring a variety of people. I thought the episode with TJ was great because, again, onboarding is extremely important. But I did want to share with you just a little bit more about hiring, some of the things we've learned throughout the years when it comes to hiring. And I do not want to say that I have it down 100%. Matter of fact, I'll say I definitely don't have it down 100%. The last person we hired, I think, was a wonderful hire, and she really seemed to enjoy the position. But truthfully, she found something in a few months that was more in line with her desires when it came to fashion. So I definitely cannot hate on that. We still chat sometimes via text, but I think just taking your time is really the key and getting ahead of it. Hiring when you're not in a hurry, where you can really take your time. And hiring can be a daunting process. So you have to get yourself prepared for it. Get ready for asking the same questions over and over again to a number of people. But I think at the end of the day, you'll end up with a person that's going to be a good fit for your company. And I'll say it one more time. It's essential and important that it's a win-win for both the company and the new hire. That's it. That's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for you. Please take a moment to go over, rate, review, and share the podcast with a fellow entrepreneur or someone who desires to be in entrepreneurship. Thank you so much again for listening. And remember, take your time when it comes to the hiring process. And remember, now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.